Today on DNVR Buffs Live, another one. Coach Prime has done it again as he continues to assemble the most star-studded coaching staff in the history of football. And I'll tell you why this one might be my favorite yet. Let's do it.
That
That was fast.
Stay on your toes, bro.
Gotcha. Let's go.
Squad! Coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. It's DNVR Buffs Live. Coach Prime has done it again, boys. Another former NFL player joining the coaching staff. This time, Byron Leftwich. Played 9 years in the NFL for Jacksonville, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Tampa, and another stint with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Won a Super Bowl as well. Another Super Bowl champion.
As a player and a coach.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah, that boy is seasoned.
How we feeling?
I feel amazing about this one. And I can boil it down simply in several different ways. But I'll start with this. If last season, when Colorado was halfway into an offensive coordinator search, they had hired Byron Leftwich, we would have been over the moon.
Absolutely.
We would have maybe had like a celebration here at the bar.
Yeah.
And of course they end up going with Pat Shurmur. And I think a lot of that had a lot to do with Pat Shurmur's relationship with Shedeur Sanders. And, you know, they worked really well together. Pat comes back for another year. By the way, builds a great relationship with Julian Lewis and TC Lewis, which is part of their recruitment. And now you bring in Byron Leftwich. And for those of you who don't remember, Byron Leftwich was Tom Brady's offensive coordinator when they won the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
A Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator is coming to Boulder to work alongside Pat Shurmur with Julian Lewis, with Kaidon Salter. This is, to me, of all of the NFL moves that have been made this year, this is my favorite one.
Wow.
And it's because of everything I just mentioned, but also because I love the fact that there's another top-notch mind in the room with Pat Shurmur to cook on this offense and bring different ideas and say, hey, this is the way that Tom liked to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Or this is the way that we like to do it here or there. The offense and the play calling for these quarterbacks this year, no matter who it is going to be, is so important. And now these guys have top-notch coaching at multiple levels of this offense.
Totally.
Well said, bro. You talking about this is your favorite NFL kind of coaching add to this staff? That's saying a lot because we know there's been some gold jackets, some former NFL pros that have been added to this staff, with obviously Byron being the latest. And I can't say that I really disagree with that take, RK. I mean, this is somebody who we talked about a little bit on Monday. We kind of called this when we were talking when Coach Prime kind of teased that there were going to be additions. We mentioned the fact that, that Byron Leftwich could be one of them. Like I had talked about in the past that I would have liked to see a true quarterback coach added to this roster, kind of taking off that responsibility of Pat Shurmur's play, kind of allowing him to be more of an overseer of the offense and be a true offensive coordinator. And this was somebody in Byron Leftwich who last offseason before Pat Shurmur became the full-time offensive coordinator was somebody who I had wrote about as a potential kind of next offensive coordinator, obviously after Mr. Lewis, Coach Lewis had left for San Diego State. So I love this move. This is somebody in Byron Leftwich who, Jake, you mentioned it, played in the NFL for 10 years, threw for over 10,000 career passing yards, went on to become the offensive coordinator of Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback to ever do it. And they had a lot of success. You mentioned they won a Super Bowl, obviously, in 2021. Over the 2020 and 2021 seasons, when Leftwich was calling plays and was the offensive coordinator for Tom Brady and the Bucs, Tampa Bay averaged 30.4 points per game during the regular season, which was the highest in the NFL. 30 points per game over 2 seasons, 2 full seasons with Byron Leftwich calling the plays. And again, if you remember, the no risk it, no biscuit kind of thing that kind of came out of the Jameis era into the Tom Brady era. Like
Right.
Byron Leftwich was kind of like the mastermind pretty much behind that. And obviously Bruce Arians was the head coach of that team. And Bruce Arians kind of really like took Leftwich under his wing, and he wanted Leftwich to get a head coaching opportunity. He interviewed with the Bears, the Saints, and the Jaguars after the 2021 season. Obviously, he remained. He didn't get a head coaching opportunity, and that pissed Bruce Arians off. He was on record in 2021. He was like, I mean, people give me way too much credit because I don't do shit, really, Bruce Arians said. He goes, he does it all, talking about Leftwich. He calls the plays. I'm really upset he didn't get a head coaching interview. Byron didn't even get a call, and I think people give Tom Brady and Bruce Arians way too much credit and not enough credit for Byron Leftwich. So this is somebody who is going to bring out the best, help bring out the best in a Julian Lewis and the Kaidon Salter and the rest of those quarterbacks. And TC Lewis, Julian's dad, already tweeted about it right before the show. He goes, so Ju gets to be coached by Byron Leftwich and Pat Shurmur in college. In college, when God has a plan for you, sit back. And like Ju told me 2 months ago, God has been cooking. Let him cook. Even if only for one season of his career, that's checkmate. That's fire. That's how you keep a 5-star quarterback in your building, you know, for years to come. Having him coached by Pat Shurmur, who Julian has already said is one of the best coordinators, quarterback coaches in college football. You add a Byron Leftwich with all of his experience. This might be the best move yet.
I'm up there with that, man. Let's not forget, he was also a first-round draft pick, seventh overall. If that's your quarterback coach, like, who would not want to come play for him?
Yep.
And this also kind of continues the, Shador mentioned legendary and Tom Brady a lot. It adds another layer to that. Not only can Coach Prime point and say, look, this is what Shador learned from Tom and blah, blah, blah. Now you have the quarterback coach or a potential offensive analyst who can also say that, like what you said, like, this is what Tom liked to do, blah, blah, this is why he did this, why he did that. On so many levels, this is just an incredible hire and makes the best coaching staff in college football even better.
And just to add to that point, we talk so much about the standard and how these coaches can say, this is how Travis Hunter was doing it. And you want to do less than that? Now he can come in and say, this is how Tom Brady was doing it. Mm-hmm. If you want to be like that, this is how you got to do it. Hey, this is how Mike Evans worked after practice.
Right.
This is how Chris Godwin worked after practice. This is the way Bruce Arians liked people to run this route. Or, talking to Pat, Bruce really liked this concept. It worked a lot for us. I think it might really work for this offense. I mean, the depth of knowledge, and if you think about the trees that are like intertwined now, it's like you have Pat Shurmur who's intertwined into the Andy Reid tree. Now you have Byron Leftwich who's intertwined into the Bruce Arians tree. Like the depth of knowledge that exists on this football coaching staff is completely unmatched. I mean, going all the way back to Marshall Faulk and The Greatest Show on Turf, like the type of experience and influence that has permeated into this coaching staff in Boulder is truly unlike anything that's ever been assembled before. And, you want to call it star-studded, you want to call it NFL experience, you want to call it Hall of Fame, whatever it is. No one's ever come close to assembling a staff like this.
No, programs hire one former NFL player and fan bases lose their mind. Like, this is becoming normal for us. And it's not normal. This is 100% not happening for any other program, any other NFL team at that, too. This is completely unprecedented. And Coach Prime, again, just another example of how he's changing the game.
And this offense just got so much smarter this offseason from a coaching staff perspective. And I think that was very important when you lose a Shador Sanders who has the ball in his hands every play and can kind of be a coach on the field at quarterback. But adding a Marshall Faulk, just the mind of a Marshall Faulk, adding an Andre Gerard, adding a Byron Leftwich, just their football minds to what this offense is going to do. Because there were multiple times last year offensively where we were like tearing our hair, like what strategically is this offense trying to accomplish with all the talent? I just feel like that is going to be taken out of the equation here in 2025 because there's so many bright minds kind of working together to make sure that this offense runs as smoothly as it should be.
And by the way, back to the standard, the theme of the offseason, you want to be a top 15 pick in the NFL draft? Okay, well, Coach Prime has been one. He's also raised one.
Right.
He also took another one and Travis Hunter under his wing.
You have one at left tackle.
Yeah, you have a future one right on the team right now. You have Warren Sapp, who's the 12th overall pick. You have Byron Leftwich, who's the 7th overall pick. You have Marshall Faulk. I don't actually remember where he went in the draft.
First round, though.
But obviously a Hall of Famer. This is insane. There's no excuse to not work hard enough to make it.
Marshall Faulk, 23rd overall.
So again, first round pick. You cannot leave Colorado saying, I wish I had the tools.
Right.
I wish someone would have told me X, Y, or Z.
Yep.
There will be no stone left unturned if you are on this football team when it comes to your ability to make the NFL. You have everything you could ever possibly need. The rest of it's just on you.
And Coach Prime says it all the time. Like, you want to know how to get there? Just look around. Pick
Ask
someone.
anyone.
Yeah, literally at this point.
Just say, I want to go to the NFL, and 12 people will surround you and be like, let me help.
Yeah, no doubt. Someone in the comments brought up, is there any fear of like too many cooks in the kitchen at this point? But I don't have that fear at all. One, because these guys have all been pros. They've all had to, contribute in different facets of the coaching staff, to come into one. And also, Coach Prime's just the lead guy. I think there's an expectation of like leaving your ego out the door, when you walk into that building, not just for coaches, but for the players, for everyone who's contributing to the success of Colorado football right now. It's not, it's all totally about the team. No one's in there going about me. Like, I did this for me. Like, everyone always mentions for Coach Prime. When you heard Warren Sapp yesterday talking about it, he brought up how he wanted to do it for Coach. Marshall Faulk said that. I guarantee you Byron Leftwich is thinking the exact same thing. And
having an unquestioned leader completely changes things for me in that situation. I'm just going to throw some random coach under the bus. Gene Chizik. If he brings in this whole coaching staff, there might be this weird thing where like the staff starts to believe they know more than him.
Sure.
And they're like, what is he doing? Like, no one thinks that way with Deion Sanders, with Coach Prime. Everyone has the utmost respect for him. And I use the term football savant when I talk about Coach Prime a lot. And that's why these guys have that level of respect for him. None of those guys are ever going to come to the building thinking they're smarter than Coach Prime.
Right.
And wanting to kind of like undercut him. They all want to work together with him.
Right.
And so to me, that completely alters why I would never be worried about too many cooks in the kitchen.
And the fact that Warren Sapp was a massive success in year one, I think kind of, gives optimism for these new guys, these NFL guys being seamlessly kind of integrated into this coaching staff. Like, Warren Sapp had no coaching experience, and he was able to quickly, thank y'all. Appreciate it, K-Mac. Appreciate y'all. This is going to be fire. There's some from Woody Creek. We got some Woody Creek whiskey.
I told you we might have a celebration if Byron Leftwich gets hired. Well, we're having one anyway. Shout out Woody Creek.
But yeah, I just feel like seeing Warren Sapp, the man that he was, the player that he was, and being able to check his ego at the door, work alongside Damian Lewis and Vincent Dancy on the defensive line last year, have a ton of success, be back in 2025. And again, we talked about it a lot yesterday, Jake. Like, to me, Warren Sapp is evolving as a coach, and other people see that. Like his answer to the question yesterday about Tawfiq that kind of popped off yesterday. I mean, Thurman Thomas is quote reposting this. Sean Merriman, LaShawn McCoy. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are NFL guys, you know what I'm saying, who are taking notice of what's happening in Boulder. And again, I don't know if a Byron Leftwich comes to Boulder, Colorado, if Warren Sapp doesn't have the success he does. I don't know if a Marshall Faulk comes to Colorado if Warren Sapp doesn't have the success that he does. So this staff is just being built from the ground up the right way.
All right, before we hit this break, what are we sipping on here, K-Max?
Woody Creek bourbon for Scotty and RK, and then Woody Creek vodka for Jake.
Oh, hell yeah.
That. Even give
So
you a little
thoughtful.
lemon slice in there.
Legendary.
Shout out Woody
Appreciate
Creek for
y'all.
the celebratory
let's
sippers
go.
here.
Yes, chat, you are right. Marshall Faulk was the second overall pick. I read the wrong line. He was 23rd in the AV value.
Oh my
which
God.
is Pro Football References like metric
So
that
that's
they
like
measure
4 top
success
10
and stuff.
picks, you feel me? Like, on the staff at least.
Yeah,
Right?
you got Coach Prime,
Prime, Faulk,
Falk,
Leftwich.
Leftwich. Sapp was 12th.
Okay. So maybe 3.
Yep.
That's
Still.
nuts. That is
And
nuts.
then-
Three more than almost any other coaching
Yep.
staff out
You
there.
have
Probably 3
access
times.
to Shador
Yeah.
Sanders.
Yep.
You have access to
Travis.
Travis Hunter.
And we're, like we said, Jordan. Like,
Jordan Seaton's right there in front of you.
we'll talk about Julian later today. He's been cooking. Like, there's more to get into this. Let's take our next break, though. Shout out to the homies over at Breckenridge Brewery. It's time to come hang out at the DNVR bar. It's almost NHL and NBA season or playoff season. So if you want to come party with us and crush some Breck brews, come on down to Colfax in York, where we got all the Breck brews. It's almost prime Mountain Beach season, my favorite time of year. But you could try many of their great beers, including the Fun Slinger, right, Scotty?
That's my stuff right there.
Check out the beer locator at www.breckbrew.com to find a Breck brew near you.
Shout out to the homies over at Elevations Credit Union, man, who own the sexiest, most beautiful credit card on planet Earth. And as the official credit union of the University of Colorado, Elevations Credit Union is launching the exclusive Go Buffs Visa Signature Rewards card. That sexy credit card that I just mentioned. It's emblazoned with the iconic CU Ralphie logo. On top of various cardholder benefits, Elevations donates 2 cents per swipe to CU student athletes through NIL. In other words, every single swipe of this card is a win for you and for CU. Get up to 3% cash back on CU tickets and merch with select CU merchants. Plus, every purchase, like I said, helps you support CU student athletes. Go Buffs with the Go Buffs Visa Signature Rewards card, the only official credit card of CU Athletics, only at Elevations Credit Union. Visit buffscreditcard.com to apply and see full card benefits and details.
Did we go out of order there? A little bit.
No, it's all right.
Well, maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing then. We're fine.
We might have.
Okay. By the way, this is going down smooth. Tastes like future national championships.
I'll fix it.
Feels so celebratory right now.
Still a lot to talk about with this. Let's just go to the impact that it'll have on this year's team. I assume he'll be quarterback coach, right?
Yeah, we don't know that yet. I think it would make sense, but we'll see.
So, I mean, I'm sure you could see, improvement from Kaidon Salter and improvement from Julian Lewis, who is out there already balling in terms of just technique. I mean, this is literally something CU hasn't had. If this is the case, if he's a quarterback coach, you've had the offensive coordinator kind of split in time, doing all those duties while coaching the quarterbacks. Now you diversify the coaching staff a little bit. You allow them to get even more attention, personalized, specialized attention during practice, during film work, all that stuff. So there's an immediate bump that he's going to have just with this year's quarterbacks alone. And not to mention recruiting, too. Like, recruits are going to want to come visit and talk to him.
Yes.
Oscar Rios, he's coming here in a few weeks. You think he's not excited to talk to him?
I mean, everyone's going to be excited to come here. And not to take it a little off path from where you were going with it, Jake, but I've been to Canton, Ohio for the Hall of Fame ceremony. And
Slight flex.
One thing that happens is all of the guys go back. Why? Because they get to be around all of the other greats,
right?
And talk shop and tell old stories. Now that's happening in Canton, Colorado, also known as Boulder. You don't think every great football player is asking themselves, "Wait, do I want to go coach for the Buffs?" If all these guys are doing it, I mean, obviously we've already seen interest from Terrell Owens. We've seen it from Coach Ocho.
Yeah.
But now I have a feeling that Coach Prime's going to start getting inbound calls, and he probably already does, more inbound calls of guys being like, "Hey, how can I help?
Yeah. What you need from me? How can I get added to this?"
This is only going to grow and get more and more crazy.
And I just love the fact, too, and it's kind of what I talked about a little bit on Monday, my head coach, my last 3 years of college was also my offensive coordinator and quarterback coach and play caller. And he was really great. But one of the things that I mentioned on Monday that I felt throughout my college career is I wish I had a true quarterback coach those last 3 years. Because again, when you're, a Pat Shurmur, you got to wear a lot of hats as offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. And getting somebody in that room who these quarterbacks can really just relate to on a personal level. And that was why Leftwich, it was reported back in 2021, I was doing some research. That was why he was a hot head coaching candidate, because he was kind of known as a player's coach. Really easy to relate to his guys. And this is obviously somebody who played a lot of football at that position. And it seems like there's a coach for every position, really, in terms of they played it, in their own playing career on this coaching staff, except quarterback, right? Pat Shurmur played guard and linebacker, back in the day or something. And obviously he's developed into a really good offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. But it's just different when you can learn from somebody who has done it, who has played the position that you played at a really high level. And, you know, the game that he's going to be able to give Kaidon, Juju, Ryan, the rest of that quarterback's room is going to be invaluable. Also,
this isn't the first time Coach Prime and Colorado have added a former offensive coordinator to the staff when they've already had an offensive coordinator. Last time this happened, Pat Shurmur, it was I think it was actually middle of fall camp, getting ready for the season. They add Pat Shurmur when Sean Lewis was on the coaching staff. You know, Coach Prime does go out of his way very, very often to shout out Pat Shurmur and what he's meant to this program.
Yeah.
But that's just caught my attention a little bit. You know, Coach Prime likes to plan ahead for certain moves like that.
Yes, he does.
I'm just bringing it up. Like,
you don't have to say anything more. We all know what you're saying.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, what is that? Chat. Whiskey or iced tea? Your dad wants to know.
Both.
I'm just tasting the whiskey.
Anything else on this before we move on?
I can't express how excited I am about this and how awesome it is to have this now. I mean, on the offensive side of the ball, you've got everything taken care of now in terms of coaching. And I guess maybe you could add a Hall of Famer to the tight ends room. Tony Gonzalez, what you up to? Antonio Gates, come help us out. But regardless, these, getting this running game is such a huge part of this.
Yes, it is.
But getting these quarterbacks prepared is also so massive. You've had such a luxury over the last 2 years of having an NFL-ready quarterback on the roster leading the team. And getting these guys to that position, and both of them certainly have the talent to get there. But kind of microwaving that process as much as you can is going to do wonders for this team.
Who's next, bro?
Who is next?
Because you know he ain't done.
He said a couple.
There's another one coming still.
Couple of them things.
Do you have another guess like you did?
I did nail the Leftwich guess.
Yeah,
I just said it before Scotty. Let me brew on that for a second.
Okay.
You got one?
I'm doubling down on Devin Hester.
Okay.
That's who I think. And again, I didn't have the quote ready yesterday from Coach Pollack, but I went and found it this morning. That was just yesterday, right? We heard from Coach Pollack? It's crazy.
It's already been a long week.
It really has. But yesterday, out the blue, Coach Pollack goes, "We're excited about some additions to our coaching staff that are going to help us in the return game." He also mentioned the fact that...
Wait, what was it again?
Coach Pollack says, "We're excited about some additions to our coaching staff that are going to help us in the return game." And he goes on to say that he knows that Coach Prime was disappointed in the fact that they only had one return touchdown last year, which obviously was LeJonte's punt return touchdown late in the season. So when I heard those two things in conjunction, the Bears fan in me instantly, I'm thinking, Devin Hester, like that's, you feel me? That just makes the most sense. Because again, if Coach Prime wants to address the return game, he's not going to get a random, you know what I'm saying? He's going to try to get the best return man to coach that he can get.
Absolutely.
And Devin Hester, again, is the guy that comes to my mind. He does have some coaching experience. We talked about it yesterday. Like he's coached some youth football and whatnot. Obviously, him and Coach Prime have a real connection that goes back years, being probably the two best returners in NFL history. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm calling my shot with Devin Hester, and if that actually happens, y'all heard it here first. Scotty D Pockets.
You cooked. I can't even disagree with that. It just makes too much sense.
For real.
The only other name I'd bring up is a name we've been waiting 3 years for, and that's Mike Zimmer.
Yep.
Coach Prime has said multiple times, he's coming.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time.
He hasn't really said that since the first offseason, though.
No, but there's obviously a link there. They've talked. That's how they got Rob on the coaching staff. That's how Domata Peko is on the coaching staff. Is the recommendation from Mike Zimmer, who coached him or was the DC last year in Dallas and coaching Domata Peko, who was on the staff in Dallas as well.
Yep.
So that's a name that comes to mind. But the chat threw out Ed Reed again. I think that's another name we should throw out there.
Ed Reed knew a little something about returning it when he got the ball.
Damn right he did.
I swear.
Desmond Howard was thrown out.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't know. All I know is it's going to be exciting.
Hell yeah, man.
Stay buckled in.
Yes, it will be.
And I think we're about to go on a heater We're already starting it, but I think we're about to go on a heater of exciting news surrounding the Colorado football program.
Facts. All right, let's talk about the spring game. Coach Prime, I mean, I remember asking him this question last spring, and he was talking about, why don't we do this? And it seems like that's really been brewing in his mind because he really wants to make this happen. He and Coach Sapp were both asked about this early in the week about the possibility about playing another team this spring.
Spring game will be televised. ESPN2 will broadcast spring game on the 19th. We got to sell this thing out and pack this thing because the way the trend is going, you never know if this is going to be the last spring game. I don't believe in that. I don't really want to condone that. I would like to play the spring. Actually, I like to play against another team in the spring. That's what I'm trying to do right now, to have it competitive. Playing against your own guys kind of get monotonous, and you really can't tell the level of your guys because, it's the same old. Everybody kind of know each other towards the end. I would like to style it like the pros. I would like to practice against someone for a few days, then you have the spring game. And I think the public will be satisfied with that tremendously. I think it's a tremendous idea. Yeah, I've told those personnel who should understand that it's a tremendous idea.
Ain't my mouth water. I get another color that my boys can just go to work and whoop on them and we don't care. Please bring them in here. Who's coming? Who wants some of this? I used to love that when I was in Tampa and they'd bring another team, the Redskins, Commanders now, but it was back then, and then the Dolphins, or we go to Jacksonville and practice. It was always good to see another color because I ain't got to care about whooping you. I can whoop upside your head and get on the bus and go home. I don't care. Yeah, but when you got your teammates, you got to kind of care a little bit. So, I'd love another team. Ooh, yes. Give me another O-line in here. And I can yell and cuss at their coach too. Yeah, please.
They obviously want to make it happen. Everyone wants to see it. When this came out on Monday, everyone was like, yes, finally. Like, someone is trying to move this forward and make spring football actually mean something.
You know what's an underrated part of this?
Huh.
How much more soft it makes people like Matt Rule look.
Yes.
Oh.
We'll
get there.
Not only are we not afraid of teams watching our spring game film, we'll actually bring a whole coaching staff in here to look at our players firsthand.
Right.
And we still aren't scared about them taking them.
That's a great point.
Because imagine leaving that coaching staff for literally any other place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As a player. Like, that don't make sense. It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
And that's why, I agree. Like, that's kind of Coach Prime. Like, I ain't got to worry about in terms of my guys leaving. If they want to leave, that's on them. We going to be good regardless.
And there could be other parts of this, which is probably one of the things that the NCAA is a little afraid of. Because, like, if you're Coach Prime, you could be like, hey, look, we have this guy at defensive end who's, like, not going to crack the rotation, but he's actually pretty good. You guys should take a look at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the NCAA is probably, like, freaking out over the potential,
I'm sure,
quote-unquote, tampering that could happen as if it's not already happening. But there's a lot of pressure being put on the NCAA right now to just say, fine, you can do it. And the NCAA is actually the kings right now of just saying, fine, you can do it.
Yeah.
Because they don't feel like fighting anything anymore. And so when multiple schools are coming out and saying, let's do this,
Right.
you got to come up with a pretty good reason to say no.
Right.
And if you can't come up with one, then this has a real chance of happening.
And at this point, me and Jake talked about a little bit yesterday. Like, they're going to have options. Coach Prime and Colorado going to have options in terms of who they want to play, actually, for the spring game. Obviously, Syracuse came forward. Carl Reed said, for Coach Prime pretty much that they're interested in North Carolina. Who you want to see him play?
I don't care.
We'll talk about it on the other side of the
Anyone but CSU.
Absolutely.
I would love a CSU spring game.
Let's take a break. Shout out to our homies over at FanStake, a cool new app that allows you, the fans, to directly basically recruit players to Colorado, keep players on the roster. We all know how it works these days. You got to do a little extra to keep everyone on the team that you want to see playing under the Flatirons this fall, and you can do that with our friends over at FanStake. And they're currently offering new fans a free $25 credit, no credit card required or strings attached. And we're encouraging everyone to join us in staking. Let's go with Jordan Seaton. A lot was said about him after the spring game this last year. I have a feeling it's going to be quite different this spring. We're just going to look at him and go, wow, he has really grown a lot over the last year, especially from that first rep. So if you want to help or join us in staking Jordan Seaton, click the link in the description, scan the QR code, or head to fanstake.com. Use the promo code DNVR to help keep Jordan Seaton with the Buffs.
Also, shout out to our friends over at Bet365. All right. Like I said, I have a point where I want to make sure I put everyone on to something before I do it. And this one I've been doing this will be my 4th year in a row doing it. You take every single underdog on the money line in March Madness, and you do it over at Bet365.
Yep.
It's the easiest college basketball betting strategy of all time, and this will be the 4th year. All 3 years have been profitable. Wow. The first 2 years, extremely profitable. Last year, barely profitable. But guess what? It's the most ethical way to watch March Madness.
Yes.
You get to root on every underdog with no strings attached. Forget your bracket, all that other BS. You bet on the underdog, and at Bet365, you have the early underdog, or you have the early money line payouts. We've all seen it before where an underdog jumps out to a big lead at halftime before the 1 or 2 seed finally says, like, all right, guys, let's get our shit together and turn this on. Well, you could have already cashed like a plus 1,300 money line on a heavy underdog. So get over to Bet365 and sign up for it. Use the code DNVR365 to unlock $150 in bonus bets, which gets you even more to play with, and have yourself a great March Madness. King Mar says, no way you didn't lose money.
He's skeptical, bro. He don't believe you.
Every underdog money line, straight up, every game, no matter what. 2 years ago, it was like plus 18 units.
Yeah, because we were on Fairleigh Dickinson.
Yeah, and we were on
sheesh.
Oakland, was
last
it?
year we had Oakland over Kentucky with Jack Golke or whatever his name was.
That's the thing with that strategy. It only takes one team to really, like, one big win.
Yeah.
And if you get, a few, you win the 9-8 games around plus 100 or whatever, it's going to be pretty close to even. Like, you're at least getting your money back.
You putting the same amount on every game?
Yeah, exactly. You said the same amount on every game, no matter what. And you make sure you just have enough to lay out every game on the first round, and then it, eventually ends up carrying over. But yeah, you're right. You only need one big upset to really carry you through the whole tournament. But it's just the most fun way to watch the tournament.
Yep. As Scotty was saying, going back to the spring game thing, Fran Brown said they'd bring Syracuse down for 3 days. Tremaine Jackson also said that he's the head coach at Prairie View A&M, an HBCU. There's a lot of ways you can go. As you mentioned, North Carolina, Carl Reed tweeted about it. Do you want to see like a Syracuse, who is a damn near top 25 team? Do you want to see a UNC, who's a complete unknown? Or do you want to just pick a lower level team like Prairie View A&M and HBCU to come in just to get some work in?
I want to see Colorado play Syracuse in the spring game.
Yep.
Mainly because that will just be great competition. The couple practices leading up to the spring showcase, spring game or whatever would be great. Super valuable for both teams. But maybe more important than that is the fact that, to me, the optics of Coach Prime and Fran Brown being two black head coaches coming together to do something that has quite literally never been done before in terms of the spring game, having a couple of practices before a spring showcase against another team. The optics of that, to me, is something that I want to see, and I feel like a lot of people would appreciate, and that would be something really special for the sport of college football. So I'm kind of all in on Colorado playing Syracuse in a spring game. That would be ultra dope.
It's exactly where I am. Yep. I think it'd be great competition. As Scott mentioned, there's like a historical aspect to it too. Being the first game to have two black head coaches do it, and
it could be history right there. Like,
absolutely,
for real.
It could
Multiple levels.
Could be setting the new trend for spring football.
Yeah.
Like, we could have not like a full season, obviously, but there's going to be actual meaning to spring games now, to spring practices.
Facts.
Like, the fact that there's the payoff of playing against another like team who was around the same, prestige as you last year in Colorado. That gives you a real measuring stick in the spring and allows you to see where you actually have to improve moving forward the next 4 or 5 months.
Which is exactly Coach Prime's point about it, and I couldn't understand and respect it more. Having covered so many Broncos training camp practices, you never know when someone makes a play. Was it because the other side was weaker?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If your offense is eating, there's always a little part of you is like, does that mean our defense sucks? So being able to get a real team in there to go up against, and then you can say, like, we needed to improve in these categories. You guys can't deny it.
Yes.
You just saw it. You got whooped in this area by Syracuse. We're going to play plenty of teams this year who are as good as Syracuse. We have no excuse but to get back to work and go and try and improve that area.
Absolutely. Any other teams that you would throw, their name in the hat to potentially play against?
Just for the easiness of it, a Northern Colorado, a CSU
Yes.
Pueblo, some of the
Mines.
bigger other programs in Colorado. Trying to
Mines.
think. There's a couple other programs in Colorado, but I can't remember one of them. Oh, Mines. Yeah. Is there anyone else? No, they don't have one. Is any team up north?
No.
Don't think so.
Don't think so.
Yeah.
No, they're a basketball
It's a
school.
big empty field up there.
Yeah.
So yeah. Give me any other team in Colorado.
And the fact too that Fran Brown was like, I'm pretty sure the first person
Air Force.
to come out and be like, I want to do that, coach.
Yeah.
Like, and the fact that he said, we'll come to Boulder.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Like that
absolutely,
should
bro.
have been they should have been on the phone like that night trying to work out details.
I hope they were.
I hope they were. Right. It just seems perfect to me.
I actually wouldn't want to do Air Force just because
There's no real
there's no value in
Yeah.
facing that offense.
Exactly. But I don't think teams like Oregon and stuff would happen. Like,
Nah.
could you imagine like Alabama playing Michigan for the spring game? Like, do you think that is where we're headed?
Well, and someone made a good point in the office the other day. It was actually John who told me like the one thing about bringing up a lower level team is like you might get a guy who's trying a little too hard to impress the coaching staff on the other side and put one of your players in danger, which certainly happens, in the preseason or whatever. I've seen actually joint practices in the NFL where, there's a lower level guy who's trying to take someone else's head off in the middle of the field
Right.
in a practice, and then a fight breaks out or whatever. So you maybe have that more of a risk with a lower level school, whereas it's like, I don't know, if it were Colorado and Syracuse, like you said, pretty level where it's not like one team's going to be trying to impress so much other than the other.
That's a good point. To go back,
One last thing on North Carolina. For some reason, I just don't want to help North Carolina.
that's what I said yesterday.
We talked about you
Like,
did.
there's a lot of unknowns with them. Like, I just don't want to be a part of it. Like, I don't want to help them figure it out. And like,
I don't want them to they're already getting credit for what Coach Prime started.
yes.
And then they're going to be like, wow, look at Bill Belichick. He came up with this revolutionary
I know.
idea for joint practices in a spring game. I would be like,
Bringing the NFL to college
yeah,
football.
dude, give me a break. I don't want to help them with that.
For sure.
Completely agree.
On how stupid Matt Rule in Nebraska must feel right now. Coach Prime kind of mentioned it on Monday, talking about it. Like, I don't think there's any, no one's watching a spring game to try and find players. And I completely agree.
Didn't he say, if you want to just save money, just say that?
Yes, he did say that.
But it's actually, they're losing money by doing this.
Absolutely. They want to do some fan fest thing, which, you might get some of them out there, but Nebraska has one of the good things they have going for them is they're like, spring game is one of the biggest in the country and has been for so long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you lose that. I doubt, 90,000 people are going to show up for a fair, basically. But
You'd be surprised, bro. There's literally nothing
that
else
is true.
to do there.
That is true.
You put a Ferris wheel out there, and those people just start drooling.
But on that, today, Mike Elko was speaking about this and says, I'm not buying some of that stuff when it comes to the tampering and whatever, Matt Rule and all those other programs.
This
brought
A&M
up.
coach, right?
Yes, he said this thought of people recruiting off your roster, some of those things, I'm not buying some of that stuff. We'll continue to have a spring game until we make it to the semifinals. Then we'll kind of rediscover what our offseason looks like. He said, I think there's two different elements to this. Some teams who play real long seasons, and I think there's a reality to redefine what your next offseason is like with the extended playoff and how many games some teams are playing. That's real. That's a good point. But to the original, no one's scouting a spring game going, oh, we could get this guy in the portal. First off, if they were good enough to ball out in the spring game, there's probably already college film from their last stop or whatever the last season was. And if they're a freshman, everyone saw their huddle. Like, this isn't breaking news. So I don't know. It was just dumb when it came out when Matt Rule said it. It looks even stupider now.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of Elko and A&M, did I see today that Micah Hudson is no longer with the program there?
That is true.
Bro needs to find a home.
I
What are
think
you suggesting, bro?
Yeah.
Look, I know of a great place, and he's looking for a home. And again, everything I heard at Texas A&M is a great kid. So
He found out that the paycheck
Or
isn't what
Texas
it's all
Tech.
made up to be.
Yeah, you heard that from Tech.
Texas Tech, yes,
Gotcha.
I heard
Okay.
that he's a great kid.
He's obviously talented. There will be teams that will be willing to look past whatever he's been going through off the field and want him in their building.
Yep. We've touched on this also today too. Julian Lewis is absolutely cooking at practice. He threw up the Shador today. It's
That video was too hard.
It's crazy, man. I mean, I think we kind of expected this to some level, but he's looked the part and then so much more already.
Totally. And I mean, I said it, I think Monday when one of these videos came out and just another one comes out today. Julian Lewis was put on this earth to throw footballs. That was the gift that he was given. And obviously he has a lot more to give to the world. But that was the one, when he was sent down here, it was like, here, you get the touch of incredible at throwing the football.
Yeah.
And he's been doing this since he was like 7 years old. Just putting the football wherever he wants to throw it.
Against older folks.
And he
Yes.
just keeps yes. And he just keeps going and going and going. And you know, there's certain things that he needs to learn and get better at, of
No
course.
doubt.
But when it comes to just the skill of throwing the football, he has a very, very special gift.
Yes.
And he's only going to continue to get better as he has been for a very long time.
No doubt, man. He's just, as you said, he's such a naturally talented thrower of the football. He can place it wherever he wants. His feet don't have to be set to be accurate. He can throw on the run. He can throw with different arm angles. And all those things are valuable if you're trying to play that position at the college level and obviously at the NFL level as well. But did y'all see my boy Joseph Williams on the receiving end of that
Yep.
dime, though? Looking
yeah.
cold, you feel me?
Jump ball specialist.
Yeah, that boy Joseph finna be cold. But yeah, Juju is he has been as advertised, and we really haven't seen nothing yet. You feel me? And
Yeah.
that's crazy to think about. Like, I love how they have kind of brought him along early on. You know what I'm saying? And I just can't help but think that Kaidon is being a great teammate as well, a great leader in that room as well, and obviously they're all gelling really well. So this is really exciting, and I need one of those clips damn near every day. That boy brought out the wrist, but why? That was too clean. I'm not gonna lie, that was hard.
Smirking at the camera while he knew exactly what he was doing.
And I heard that Julian is just like fitting in perfectly,
Yeah.
loving Boulder, loving the school, loving the town, loving the team. And so
And everyone obviously loves him so far from all the
this
reviews and
is-
stuff.
everything's going really according to plan so far.
It's great. And now you got Byron Leftwich in the fold too.
Crazy.
The Big 12 Pro Day is going on today. The real headliner for Colorado, BJ Green, who's really been kind of slept on throughout this whole process. I think he went to the Hula Bowl,
Yes.
which is one of the 4 or 5 college all-star games for NFL evaluation purposes. Sounds like he balled out there. He ran a 4.70 40-yard dash today. By my count from the edges, that puts him 12th or 13th. There's a lot of 4.67s, 4.68s, and 4.69, so he's in that group. That would be among some of the fastest edge rushers. So we'll see what else pops up. I saw Chidoze ran. 40 is probably the least telling thing about who he is as a player. But yeah, stay tuned because this goes on the next today and tomorrow as well.
I feel like BJ really helped himself. That 4.7 flat is pretty impressive, and I think that would have been a top 10 overall time among edges at the NFL Combine. Just somebody who had 13.5 sacks over the last 2 seasons. 6 in 2023 at Arizona State, 7.5 this past year at Colorado. Really came on late in this season as well. This is somebody who plays a premium position in the NFL who can very easily do what you need that position to do, which is get the quarterback on the ground, apply pressure. And I think coming into this 2024 season, he was the FBS active career leader in career pressures, which is insane. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole, 3 years, obviously, at Arizona State. That was obviously before he even did what he did this past year at Colorado. So BJ Green, don't sleep on that boy. He might be, let me think about this, might be the first defensive player drafted from the Buffs. Obviously, we're taking Travis out of the equation, right? Potentially, I think that's very much on the table.
I mean, I look at this and I just saw enough of these guys last year that, like, you name one of them, I want them on the Broncos. BJ Green, absolutely.
Yes.
Block Boley, absolutely.
For real.
LeJontay Wester, absolutely. I mean, you go down the list, like, I want them on my team. I'm not just trying to pump up their draft stock because I like the kid. Like, I want them on my squad.
No doubt.
That's about it for today, unless you guys got anything else.
Who would be number one for you, Broncos, aside from the top two? Number one.
LeJontay,
Tay.
easily.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Y'all know that would have been my answer, but
Yeah.
I was wondering if it was going to be any different. for
You
y'all.
know, we went through a whole thing on the Broncos pod at the end of last week about Cooper Kupp.
Right.
And obviously Cooper Kupp is incredibly proven.
Yeah.
But LeJontay solves some of the same problems. And the way that the Broncos have built their team is just creating so much space with Cortland taking the top off. Now you have Evan Ingram to mess up, the way the defense reacts in the seam, and you just need someone to just eat underneath. And I think Tay would be great in that position.
Our guy Gucci had an interesting tweet earlier today about LeJontay Wester. The Minnesota Vikings just hired Charlie Fry to their coaching staff. Charlie Fry was FAU's offensive coordinator when obviously LeJontay was at FAU. So that could potentially be a landing spot for LeJontay in Minnesota with the Vikings, which I think would be absolutely dope. Being in a room with Justin Jefferson and Addison where LeJontay's back in the situation where he's familiar with her. He's not the guy, but he can still be the guy. You know what I'm saying?
And JJ's going to cook this year, too.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you, Scott, 'cause, I don't want to hear Jake's opinion on it.
Yeah.
Too biased.
He's going to.
Do you think the Vikings are going to end up looking really stupid for letting Darnold walk?
I don't think so.
JJ's going to cook.
No,
I think I believe in Kevin O'Connell as a head coach, and I think whoever he has under center, whoever he believes should
Fair
be
enough.
his quarterback, is going to be put in the right position to play. So I think JJ will be all right. I don't know, but he gonna cook, but I think he'll be all right in that offense with those weapons. He'll be good.
I
He'll be
have
fine.
it so stuck in my head that I've never seen Sean Payton be as proud of anything as he was in convincing the Vikings that they needed to trade up to take JJ McCarthy. And I'm just like, he must think this guy sucks. Like, he was like literally
I do remember that. Yeah.
damn near threw a party. 'Cause he's like, I got these guys to trade up for JJ McCarthy.
And I'm sure you saw the news. I think that was this morning that obviously Rodgers and the Vikings was potentially a thing, and the Vikings kind of said that they're moving forward with JJ.
Yeah.
And not gonna
Duh.
add Rodgers to the fold.
That was one of the worst storylines I've seen this
it
NFL
was.
offseason.
That would have been probably the single worst move a team would have made this offseason. If that team,
That was all from Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers obviously
Probably.
wanted to join the Vikings, and
Probably.
he made it very clear.
Yeah, you're right.
No one should be touching Aaron Rodgers.
No, absolutely not. Can we get rid of him, please?
Yes,
Finally,
just let him go
just
away.
God. JJ's gonna cook though. Don't sleep on him, bro.
I think
Did
Quarterback-
Russ sign somewhere?
Huh?
Did Russ sign somewhere?
Nah.
No, not yet.
Him and Rodgers just waiting.
I'm telling you, if I had to go with one, veteran quarterback, former Super Bowl winner, I would take Russ over Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know.
I don't want either of them.
I don't want either of them.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think
But I would take Russ over Aaron Rodgers.
I might take Rodgers still.
I'll take
looked,
Matt Moore.
He looked decent at the end of last year.
Stop.
I'm dead serious.
I think I would take Russ needs to retire.
Both
they
of those
both
guys
need to retire.
Both of those guys are
But-
locker room like
Russ went to the playoffs last year.
agitators. Off the back of Justin Fields' 3-1 start or whatever.
I can't even believe you just said that right now.
That's just fact.
Like it's a factual, but come on, bro.
I mean, I'm glad that my team doesn't have to deal with this shit.
No, I completely agree. I completely agree. In fact, I
Jameis
would
Winston.
take
Jameis for
Jameis
sure.
over both.
For sure,
No
Jameis.
doubt. No doubt.
But I don't think he's won a Super Bowl, which was my qualifier there.
Y'all need to stop sleeping on JJ McCarthy, bro.
I'm actually looking up his 24/7.
5-star IMG Academy, bro.
No, he from Chicago. He played at Nazareth, a nearby high school of mine, before he went to IMG, obviously. So I remember when I was in high school, I obviously he's younger than me, but like I remember him being like the guy like as a freshman at a pretty prestigious high school football program in Illinois.
Here's the thing. Last point on this. You get Russell Wilson, he's like spending every waking moment trying to be the best he can for you. You
Fair
get
enough.
Aaron Rodgers,
Fair.
bro's doing like ayahuasca in Peru while the rest of your team is working out.
That is true. That's a good point.
At least I can say, like, I know this guy's going to put the work in.
Girls Club, why you side-eyeing me? What's going on? What I do? But yeah, like I said, they're both cooked. And I just feel like the vibes that Russ gives is like just not good for a young locker room.
No.
What about
I
Aaron
mean, no,
Rodgers?
you can say, no, I hear you,
he's
bro.
the extreme, but Russell's got some issues too, man.
Aaron Rodgers is going to be in there, like they'll be playing like some sick, they'll be playing like Kendrick in the locker room. Aaron Rodgers is going to turn it off and put on Alex Jones.
No, Russell put on Sierra or something corny like that.
Still better.
Bro, yeah, that's the thing too. Like, he can't be in a young locker room because, like, how you can't play Future in the locker room if Russ is your quarterback. Like, should be a disqualifying factor right there. Like, how we can't play Future because we got Russ who ain't even good no more as in the locker room. Like that's not fun for nobody.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I heard that Cardi album's getting really bad reviews.
Yeah, did you listen to it for us yet?
No.
You got scared off because everyone was saying it was so trash.
I don't think I saw a good thing said about it on Twitter over the weekend. Oh, for real.
All right, to the Toyota chat we go. When's the portal open? The portal opens
15th or
April
16th?
16th.
Yeah,
For 10 days till the 25th.
Are the comments in a new font?
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I was wondering.
Tier list says with the injuries on O-line, should we look for more in the portal?
Yes.
Always. I don't
doubt.
think we're that banged up right now. I mean, Phil's recovering.
You're always going to be banged up. on
Sure,
the
but,
offensive
like,
line.
Other than Phil, who?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Buffs go heavy after the highest rated offensive line in the spring portal
Yeah.
Yes.
I should add at least one, maybe even two.
and running back.
Marshall gonna see to that.
What's up, Ivan? This new spring game idea, is that feasible for this upcoming spring game or 2026? See, I don't
Let's
know.
go this year.
Well, and someone asked yesterday, what are like the obstacles for it? Like, I don't know, and you kind of brought it up too, RK. Like, I don't know what the NCAA, if they have rules and all this stuff that they got hoops you got to jump through. Like, I have no idea.
There definitely is hoops that you have to jump through with the NCAA. But screw them hoops.
I couldn't imagine
True.
they'd be able to do it this year with the spring game literally exactly a month from today. That would be some next level planning and logistical stuff.
I mean, you can schedule a flight overnight.
It's true. I guess you're right. Like I said, hopefully when Fran Brown sent that tweet the other day, they got on the phone that night and started ironing out some details.
Yep.
What buffs are at the Big 12 Pro Day? We had
Chidoze.
BJ Green, Justin Mayers, Chidoze Wonkwo, Jimmy Horn Jr., Travis J., Shiloh Sanders, Shador Sanders, Will Sheppard, Cameron Summan Craig, Herman Smith III, LeJontay Wester, and Mark Mate Bassett.
Mate.
SN Services says, was Shep at the Big 12 Pro Day? Or is he just doing Buffs Pro Day? Sounds like he should be there. As far as I know. I don't know.
I think receivers, DBs. So the fun stuff will be tomorrow.
Yeah.
The Pro Day, Big 12 Pro Day.
It's on NFL Network as well. All right, the Super Chats for Juju's Aura today for America. Thank you. With the watch emoji. Hell yeah. All right, Kev.
I better laugh at this one, Kev.
I'm still standing on Colorado playing UNC in a spring game. Don't listen to Matt Rule about poaching players. Belichick might just try to poach CU's cheerleaders who deflate a few footballs, but who's judging?
It's good. It's good.
Good one.
Thank
The
you,
only
Kev.
UNC I'm playing, though, is University of Northern Colorado.
Thank you, Kev. JR Mack, how much do you think these hires are affecting Coach Prime's extension, if at all? I think positively. I don't think he was lying on Monday when he said he'd rather take care of everyone first.
Yeah.
100%. And
And we got one step further with Byron Leftwich today.
let's just say this: you don't pull up to a party and invite all of your friends to come to the party just to leave the party.
Right.
Well said.
Right. Day Trippin says, need a visit from Gucci on the show. Let it happen. That's our guy, man.
Shout out Gucci, man.
I met him at Shrine Bowl.
Right.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, he lives out in Dallas.
I think he said he's
He's
gonna be
doxed
at
him, bro.
yeah, bro.
He's
Just
Business out on
very-
First Street. I think he tweeted today that he's gonna be at Big 12 Pro Day tomorrow. So
Hell yeah.
maybe get some footage from
There
him.
you go. What's up, Rev? Still say Jackson State with the Sonic Boom Band. 4?
for the spring game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I
Just
mean,
embarrass our band like that.
can't have it all, I guess. And then Heaven's Demon says, any update on a Buffs 24-hour stream? And how many whatevers are we getting Jake on that stream? That's up to everyone else. It's not up to me.
Jake actually wasn't here the day that we talked about that, right?
No. I have no idea what this is.
What
shit,
Chaos did a 24-hour stream, and I was like, what would we do our 24-hour stream about?
Playing CFB 26.
Oh, God.
I think I just said
That
like
would be
during
what the one
draft.
thing that could keep you up all night.
Yeah.
The video game. I want to do. I actually saw that PHNX Sun Devils is doing theirs tomorrow. They're doing it for
Okay.
like the first day of March Madness or
Okay,
whatever.
okay.
Because they made a
Wait.
bet with their listeners that if they won the Big 12, it was like kind of like one of those things when they were out of it. They're like, if we win the Big 12, we'll do a 24-hour
Got you.
stream.
We got the other hire.
No way.
From Matt Zenitz, Colorado has hired ex-Miami and NFL defensive back Corey Nelms as a member of its strength and conditioning staff.
Oh, I don't
Okay.
think I think I saw that yesterday. But
Zenith just put that out.
That is, you tweeted that 2 minutes ago.
okay.
So in addition to the
there was
strength and
another. I think there was a different report about that yesterday.
I think you're right because I seen his photo yesterday.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah.
Or I didn't see it yesterday.
I got a question for you.
Is he a
though,
stud
RK.
returner?
I'll find out about him right now.
He was a track star in Miami. Worked for the track and field teams at Texas, Oklahoma, and Miami.
Toss me that cue.
Bro, I was thinking about you the other day, bro.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate that.
I was driving in my car, bro. It was nice as fuck outside, bro. Excuse my language. And you know how you have that weird thing about you, right? Where you don't like air touching you, bro?
Yep.
Do you ever ride in the car with the windows down?
Once in a while. You get a perfect day out and the right song. Sometimes you have no choice but to roll down the windows.
Okay.
And I was thinking about it too. I also don't mind a good sea breeze.
The ocean
That's
breeze?
just a regular breeze, but yeah.
What do you mean?
Either way, he's felt the breeze before. It feels this pretty much the same as a sea
No, it
breeze.
doesn't. It feels way better when you're on the beach with like
Yeah.
a margarita in your hand.
It's true. That water hit different. That water wind. Okay, well, there was some apprehension there in your answer, but I'm glad to hear that
know
you
what?
do.
You
You
know
have experienced a beautiful day outside with the
Yeah.
windows down.
You
but
know what
yeah.
I want to, which is gonna make you laugh. So same exact situation. Instead of rolling the front windows down, which I have done, but I'll roll the back windows down so I don't have to get any direct contact with the air.
I'm dead. Just feel it on the back of your neck. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's just like it's coming into the car, so
Yeah.
I feel that fresh air, but it's not like hitting me.
How about like AC in the car?
I turn it on, aim it away from me. I want the car to cool down without that.
So how do you survive on a plane when the only like source of like
Oh, man.
moving air is actually coming directly? You have to point that thing right on you.
Just aim it away.
You ain't getting that air, bro.
I'm getting secondhand air.
Now I need to know. I need to sit next to you on planes so I get 2 air conditioners.
You can get two for sure.
It's good to know, man. Like I said, I just thought about that because, like I said, it was a beautiful day. I had the windows down. I'm like, I don't know if RK's ever even experienced this before.
What about a boat?
Another place where it's cool with me.
Just accepting it?
You just don't even notice it because it's like it's built into the experience. Like there's no way to not.
But when the wind is moving slower, you do
Like,
notice it.
What happens is then the boat stops and I'm like, wow, this feels amazing.
That's so weird.
You know what I also hate that kind of goes into this category? The sound of fans being on. Like you ever have a fan on and then you turn it off and you're like, wow, everything feels so calm now.
Yes, it's certain fans where like even like that one sometimes where I'm like that be throwing me off like just the sound of it.
Yep.
Y'all are so weird, man. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you then. Let's go Buffs.
Go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.